All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dialogue with Khuraira. If you haven't been to this platform, Dialogue with Khuraira is a platform dedicated to people we call the unsung heroes. Who are the unsung heroes? Are individuals doing incredible things in their various communities to better the lives of others. We call them the unsung hero because the spotlight might not be on them, so you may not see them on TV or any major publications, but they are out there doing great things, changing lives, and even inspiring others to do the same. So this platform is to celebrate them and let them tell their story, what inspired them to start doing what they do. So hopefully they will inspire you, motivate you to also start doing something in your community. So together we can impact the world one person at a time, one community, one country, and globally. So today we have a young man from Cameroon, Aliou Mustafa. And I would say, Aliou Mustafa, welcome to Dialogue with Khuraira. And Aliou Mustafa are the 56 individuals that I met at Rutgers, where I was called to speak at one of their conventions, the yearly convention, which was held at Rutgers University in New Brunswick. And I would tell you, I've always been passionate about doing something positive in my community back in Africa. But meeting these 56 young individuals across the African continent totally widened my imagination and inspired me to really, really dedicate creating something that can showcase talents like theirs. And Aliou Mustafa was one of the Yali individuals that I met at that time and really kind of touched me with his story and what he's been doing. And since then, I think Aliou, I don't know, it was 2000 and probably 15 or so. What is it?
2017.
Oh, 2017. Yeah, okay. So I know it was around in the 2050, the teens. But since then, we've been connected with each other, following each other, and he motivating me on what he does in terms of inspiring other younger people and also changing lives in his community in Cameroon. Aliou Mustafa, welcome to Dialogue with Khuraira. Please share your story with our audience. We are so happy to have you.
Thank you very much, Khuraira, for this wonderful platform. My name is Mustafa Aliou from Cameroon. I am from the Bororo pastoralist community in the northwest region of Cameroon. Well, I am just as any other citizen of my country and as a community member wishing to do well in my own little capacity. Actually, I will say I represent the indigenous people at the Global Environment Facility Advisory Board. I am a former member of the Jeff Small Grants Program Fellowship for Indigenous People in Cameroon. I am a Mandela Washington Fellow 2017, where of course I met you.
Oh, so it was Mandela. I'm sorry, not Yali. It's Mandela.
No, it's Yali, like it's the name, Young African Leaders Initiative. So it's
the Mandela Fellowship. Yes,
yeah, like a Mandela Washington Fellowship.
I apologize.
It is a program for the Young African Leaders Initiative called Yali as well.
So yes. I'm mixing it. It was the Mandela Fellowship.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically that is what I represent while trying to do good within my own little capacity, where I can chip in some efforts to see goodness and the change come our way as a human race.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, you're doing incredibly well. Anytime I try to reach you, you are either in one country, one state, one local community, you're all over the place, and you're also working closely with the UN and the climate change community. So, and this is huge now. So I always ask this, just any passion one has, there is a reason why that person start that passion, right? Can you share with our audience what motivated you to go this route of working with the indigenous people?
Well, one of the things which really motivates me to keep this momentum going is the fact that I come from this part where somehow things were not favorable to the communities. While growing up, I used to see a lot of lapses in things that we can fix. For example, if you look at the initiative I took to join the renewable energy process, this is as a result of lack of energy and a shortage of energy within indigenous communities, which forced me to devise a strategy to make sure I bring closer to these communities a technology to the people as a young person from this community, so much so that we might not feel intimidated with the new technological advancements, but rather we embrace it as a son of the soil who learns this thing and trying to bring them back. So aside, like away from that, I look at climate change to be so interlinked to the way we live. First of all, most of our communities we live based on the pasture for our animals to graze. The forest communities, they are based on the forest communities to be able to access food, medication, roots, and non-timber forest products, which are very essential for human survival. So
Yeah.
I definitely think there's a need to protect all of these initiatives. First of all, when all of these things are protected, life becomes more better because we are so interlinked to nature, trust me, and we cannot survive without nature.
Oh
So we
yeah.
need to protect this beautiful gift so much so that it is going to be in a sustainable manner, taking
Yeah.
into consideration the involvement of women, young girls, men, people with disability, and everybody, making
Yeah.
sure that people live in harmony with nature while delivering the global environment benefits. So, in a nutshell, this is a community building process in my mind, making sure that we give back to society in a more beautiful way, so much so that the next generation can find it easy to collaborate with nature and move ahead with action plans, because a lot of businesses depend on nature for survival. A lot of things, even the air we breathe, we depend on it. So we need to purify it in a good way. So these
Yeah.
are some of the things which just kept me like, okay, let me join this cause to do good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. So, when a lot of people, in case you're not getting what it means by indigenous people, it means he's working with the Fulanis that are in the rural areas that deal with cows. And I think what you're doing at the moment with the whole crisis on climate change, how do you get the Fulanis, especially majority of the people that you're going to be engaging are not formally educated? How are you able to get them understand the importance of the climate change, and how are they adapting to that?
Well, one thing I will make my audience today to understand is when it comes to the social environmental benefits,
Yeah.
it has two ways, which are all important. The formal way and the informal way, meaning education plays a very important role in terms of the scientific management of these things.
Yeah.
Meaning, we point out the impacts, the changes, the importance, which are seen in a scientific way to the people in a simple and clear term. Meaning, we use local languages to transmit this scientific technology or scientific concept to the
Interesting.
people, so much so that it doesn't become a mystery to the people. It doesn't be a mystery. And secondly, which is very important, the indigenous people or the communities, they hold a very strong power when it comes to environmental conservation. because
Sure.
the world is looking up to them now because there is nowhere else to look up to. I'll explain.
Okay.
Taking into consideration traditional knowledge, which is so attached to nature, there are very few places in the world where you will find this scientific knowledge and technological advancement things happening without the consent of communities, because they hold a custodian, protectors of nature through
Mhm.
traditional knowledge safeguard, ethno-veterinary medicine safeguard to treat animals, and so many other things. So this is something which, when we talk about environmental conservation and we don't go with the communities, then we are going the wrong way, because they are custodians. We protect, we live the life of nature. So meaning the people contribute and play a great factor using their own skills, their own knowledge, their own abilities, which might not come from a university professor. There
Yeah.
are simple plants within communities that you can use to treat malaria, you can use to treat typhoid, you can use to treat other diseases, which is helping a long way to help the communities cut down financial expenses, the dependence
Mm.
on conventional medicines. And for example, one case I would take, when COVID shut down the world turned back to communities to look for these things, trust me. So
Very true.
the
Very true.
scientific part of this equation has its own role to play, but the community knowledge, the community-based approach, it is so important, because at the end of the day, the science depends on what is safeguarded to be able to be transformed, to get what is being published, what is being given back to us. So
Yeah.
I definitely think all the two ways are so important. But trust me, the value of respecting indigenous knowledge, indigenous practices, saving water bodies, pasture improvements, all of these things, they are so important at that community level, because we do carbon sequestration at that point.
Well, I love that you said you actually simplify it in a way that they would understand in their own traditional language, and they're already used to the plants anyway, so they understand them. Probably you have even learned, the educated person, some of when they start telling you what they use this plant for, this plant for that, you might even learn a thing or two. I'm glad that it's being put, because I was thinking that, okay, if you guys go in there with the UN and everything and you're trying to speak in English or in French, since Cameroon is a French colonized, even though you speak English fluently, is how does it work? So I'm glad that it is being localized, that the people do understand. In regard, and definitely nature is what will save the West itself, whatever we're doing. I was just watching, somebody sent me a video which I'm going to share with you later, about happening right now in Niger, whereby they are planting trees and also making like potholes to uh, uh, to save water, so the water can actually go into the ground, so it can bring in, it will make the environment a fertile area, whereby now they're growing food, where before it was a bare desert, nothing was growing on there. I mean, I was overwhelmed with joy to see that. And this area where they're doing it is actually bordering Nigeria and Niger. They share a border, so I guess it will soon also come through Katsina and what have you. And you could see how this place was so dead, and then now it's all green and the people are happy and they're growing food, and they are now feeding over 500,000 people from just creating that environment of growing the trees, and then having the conservation of water that goes into the ground to help grow food. And I think that in the indigenous community, what is often the crisis between the farmers and the heathers is usually the lack of the green. Uh, the climate had changed, that they no longer have that green area that was reserved for them, or sometimes even land encroachment where people are now living the city and going into rural areas to build homes. So we don't have enough space for these people to take care of their cows. I think network is he's offline because of network, or he's still there. I'm not sure, but if Aliou comes back, I would love for him to touch on that in regard to what are they doing with the climate change community to address the issues between the farmers and the heathers, because right now the heathers do not have enough pastoral area for them to feed their cows. Oh, good, 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 good.
Yes.
I don't know where you have.
I was getting, I think my camera went off and it came.
Okay. So I was talking about, the green, like the heathers basically, depend on the green
Yes.
area to feed their cows. And now with the climate change and the land encroachment, it is a huge issue. With what initiatives do you, with all this organization that you have worked with, which I know you have worked with so many, is being put in place to address this conflict? Because this is not just happening in Cameroon, Ghana, or Nigeria. It's happening across Africa, or wherever the heathers are and the farmers are. Is there anything that is being addressed to help deal with this really issue that is
Yeah.
affecting so many families?
Actually, there is, we have done, and we are still continuing the process
Yeah.
of training graziers on major components of pasture improvements. For example, in northwest region of Cameroon, we were able to do pasture plot improvement in Cameroon, so much so that the people might be able to get seeds, pasture seeds for multiplication. These are pilot projects which will serve as a seed bank for communities to be able to transform these seeds into pasture plots, meaning they have to multiply the effects in a more sustainable way. And secondly, one of the things which we are also doing is to train graziers on the modern grazing techniques, meaning we encourage them to have water within their own grazing yards, or within their own grazing hills, where animals can be able to get water without going down to communities to
Yeah.
encroach or infringe on other people's activities, such as farmer grazier conflict. We also
Yeah.
train them how they can define transhuman corridors, especially during the dry season when going for transhumans. And one of the things we also train them on how to document this knowledge, so much so that the next generation can be able to learn. Because we talk of sustainability, those are some of the things which we are definitely going to keep harping on, so much so that people should be able to understand that these are the things that we, the youth, are trying to develop for the community, so much so that elders can contribute within their own capacities, and we can also come with our efforts, so much so that we bring something holistic on the table in such a way that the communities will benefit from these things while building the ecosystem in a more sustainable way, ecosystem restoration. So we have trained many people on that. I remember 2018, we trained a couple of people on that. And now it's really gaining grounds, and people are realizing the importance of improvement, so much so that they can be able to.
So this is being grown around where they live. So literally,
Exactly.
they will leave their cows there. They just have a place where the cows are sleeping, and there's this place that they grow in this pastoral thing. It's where they will put the cows to go and eat, or they will cut the grass and just
Yeah.
move it to where and what have you.
Some of the
So
grass,
just like what they do in Europe.
some of the grass they cut, and some of them they allow the cattle to go in and graze.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. And then with the water, are they doing like boreholes? Are you guys
Yeah.
doing
People like
boreholes? Or yes.
example.
That is, I hope. So in the case of like where now in some countries where they said, even though like the Fulanis have been in a place whereby for example, I remember when my family settled where they were settling, it was literally a bush. Nobody, no humans were even around there, or maybe
Yeah.
few people. But later on, because the Fulanis are not well educated, they don't know about getting certification for their land where they first settled. Later, people come by and say, okay, this is ours. So the Fulanis have the issue is that even if they're the first one that went and settled in that place, they're being told that that is not theirs. Even if other people 100 or 50 years later come and meet them in that area, they're being told that is not yours. So now, how do you get them to get that piece of property that they will be able to grow the amenities you just mentioned?
Well, first of all, like you mentioned, some of the communities they don't have maybe certificates, and we have trained people, we have educated people on the importance of acquiring certifications. But you know, when your land is so vast, at some point it is very difficult to get a certificate. So what
Yes.
happens is the community might come together to get a certificate, which is called the Certificate of the Customary Rights of Occupancy. For example, I remember in Tanzania, we visited recently and we talked about that. We visited some of the communities who they came together to get these certifications. It is called the Certificate of the Customary Rights of Occupancy. So this is what gives the community, like you can live here, you can carry activities here, you can be able to invest your property here, so much so that nobody comes in to tell you you have to leave. So in Cameroon, a lot of graziers now are doing what we call a grazing permit, which permits them to graze, but there's also what we call the land title within
Okay.
within this
You get the deed for the
area,
land.
which gives access to the area for the people to be able to do whatever they want to do. So a lot of things are happening, especially with the 21st century development mindset, which is education and sharing of information. So we who are somehow placed to learn these things, we take back these things to the communities to make sure it serves the purpose to which it is intended.
So the advocacy is working, you are saying, basically, and you're getting a hearing ear from the government, and they're also willing to participate in the thing, because most of the time you can have all this, you, the advocate, can go and learn all these things and then come back to the community and try to engage the government. But if the government are not willing to work with you, it's sometimes a waste of time. So you are
Yeah,
getting, you're actually getting that partnership working with the government of Cameroon and getting it
yeah,
established.
exactly. Sometimes it is
Yeah,
not easy, honestly, but when you push your agenda in the right way, you show reasons why
yeah,
you have to do this thing in so much so that you contribute to nation building and, of course, economic and financial upliftment of humanity, maybe
yeah.
increasing the gross domestic product of the nation and, of course, the per capita income of individuals, then definitely you are doing something good. You're going to get what you want to get.
Yeah, you're right. And I think with what the pastorals, the value chain, if you even look at the value chain of the pastoral community, is a huge add-on to the per capita of a nation anyway. It's just that you have to understand how to harness it to even bring out the other value chain, not just the cows, the meat, and the milk. There are so
Exactly.
many things, and I wanted you to elaborate on that, because I think like a couple of years ago, or you do it annually. I was seeing where you having your organization was engaging communal women, where they're actually packaging their yogurt, they're doing cheeses, they're doing how is that going? And are you guys getting help with any international organization or within the country to help these women um, create this value chain that will eventually help the economy of the country?
Well, it is something which we have been working on, and the women are embracing this technology because, by nature, the indigenous women, especially from the Bororo pastoralist community or the Fulani community, they live on this fresh milk from cows to transform cheese and other issues to make a living.
Yeah.
So stepping up the game, and they are embracing it. It is more.
Our network, it better behave itself. Amazing insight. Thank you guys for tuning in, and keep posting your comment. And if you have any other ideas you also want to share with our audience, please put it in the chat comments. We truly appreciate, and we hope that our guest is
Sorry,
able to
calls
come
calls
back.
keep calls keep
The
coming on.
network.
Calls keep coming on. People telling me we are live. Sorry. So these are some of the things that we do to encourage the women, and of course they are embracing it. Now we connect it to more of a, we train them on basic accounting, how to better manage the resources that comes as a result of these benefits. And of course, we
Mhm.
also educate them on how they can be able to get access to maybe refrigerators and the solar power issues, which can be able to solve some of the storage facility problems. So, so far we are getting our own support from a very a small point, which I will call it small because the communities need something bigger and much more than that. So, so far, the Global Environment Facility and the United Nations Development Program, they have been some of the people supporting. The United States Department of State through the American Embassy in Yaoundé has supported initiatives as such, which we so very much appreciate, and we call on goodwill people to be able to give a hand of fellowship to such things which are going to be part of human development. So we are actually not asking them to come in a way like we need that collaboration. We call it a collaboration.
Yeah.
Because when we talk of food security, we don't need the funds like we really need the funds to do whatever we want to do, but we need that partnership because the collaboration and the funds comes with respect. So we receive the funds based on the fact that we also bring in our knowledge, bring in our own technological advancement within the community, because the community is now so advanced, believe me, so much so that the funds and the commitment and the reality will bring about this change. I believe
And
it,
the resources you guys also offer is a win-win situation for everyone, anyways.
of
You
course,
know, yeah. So wonderful. And that's where, while we're on the climate change, I know that there's a huge talks about carbon credit, carbon credit. And I was, we were talking earlier regarding how there's millions and millions and millions of dollars allocated for that for African countries, but are still not being accessed. What is the reason why African countries are not taking advantage of the carbon credit and help in a way that they can uh, help with the climate change and also improve the lives of their own countries? Is there like a catch to it that is making it impossible for them to access the funds? Or what is it? Because if the money is there and it is for allocated to African countries, and as the last time I read a report on it, only Botswana was able to access it. I don't know. That was last year, so
well,
probably much have been done.
well, what you just mentioned, you just pointed out a fact which we are at a climax, holding funders, holding big organizations their necks, telling them, okay, a lot of things are happening. We hear of the $1 million, we hear
Yeah.
of the $5 million, we hear of the $100 million pledge, we hear of this, but the communities get very little or nothing. So that is the reason. There is a problem which we are trying to understand at this point, making sure that communities benefit in the right way. That is why we are harping on the issues of access to direct funding for indigenous organizations and any other organization on the ground. Because at some point, direct access to funding is going to solve this problem. Trust me,
Yeah.
because if there's no direct access to funding, it is going to be a very big problem. It is always going to be the story as usual. So we hear the pledges, we hear on behalf of Africa, we hear on behalf of the Central African sub-region, we hear on behalf of the Congo Basin. And at the end of the day, these things don't really give the impact which we need. We are tired of small seed grants. Trust me, we need to go beyond this
Yeah.
20,000, 50,000 game.
And especially if they want to really address the carbon, the control of the carbon emissions, so they better do it right. So what you were saying, that even though the promises are there, they're not looking at the people that are actually doing the job. They're probably going through government, and when government probably get the money, or there are so many string attached now to
Exactly.
access that money.
Exactly, you are right.
And that, for that reason, the government feel, forget about it. I'm not even going to have this money to use for myself anyways. So why do I even bother my time doing it? Because to me, there gotta be a reason why they're not accessing this money. Why would be billions and billions of dollars be available for this? And it says it's for Africa, but it's sitting there. You know, very few people are accessing it. There must be, it's either just is a pledge that is not really there, or the pledge has so many so many strings to that you have to untie in order to tap into the funding. But like you said, if we're able to really go with the people that are actually doing the what you want, and women, especially if you're going to target women that are doing women do things from home.
Yeah.
And if anything that is in regard to burning, changing the environment, the women in Africa are the doers. So if there are communities that are addressing women, the climate change, we are looking for the women that do the cooking. What are we going to bring to change that? What factories can we, like what you're saying with the pastoral communities? They want to create a value chain that will help them not to create waste, but also to create more uh, um, other ways for their community to expand their income generation. You have the farmers as well. There's so many, we have the raw grains, we farm, there's so many resources, but we don't have a way to change it so that it doesn't perish, or it doesn't, we extend the value chain of it. But we have the money tied in there, and we're being told it's there, but it's not given. So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this because I know you are always doing conferences, you deal with this. I just know that there must be something that is not being really told, that Africans love to get money, free money. So if this free money, is that free money being not really available, it's just a promise? Or is it that we need to know? Because people are suffering, people want to change their environment. People want to see that, I was talking to a group of women here when few weeks ago regarding getting local women. They make, now farming is huge in Nigeria, and they want to change their produce into more of a finished product, but they don't have access to doing so. So, and I know that there's SDG is saying, oh, we want to address um, what do you call it, poverty by 2030. We have how many years to go? We have 6 years to go. I don't see any poverty being reduced. And even if that money is being spent, where is it spent? Is it spent in menial things, or is it spent in creating? How are they helping Africans to get out of poverty? Maybe you can help us, because you meet with the SDG, you meet with the UN, you meet with the climate community. Is there anything in place that is really targeted to helping Africans to get out of poverty? Was
Yeah.
was it me that was making this noise?
Yeah.
Is it me?
It was.
Is that me?
I hear your mic is a little bit distant.
Or maybe my outfit? I won't talk. I won't move. Maybe my scarf, or maybe it's yours. Please, network, bring him back because these are very important.
Are you live with us?
Yeah, I'm here with you.
Can you hear
but
me?
we are not on camera.
All right. Yeah, I think your volume is low.
Me, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh,
all right. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I didn't get. I missed out the last part of your question. The last part.
No,
The
I
last
was
part.
saying that like you've been with the SDG, UN, climate change. We're talking of 2030 is when we will reduce poverty tremendously. It is now 2024, 6 years to go, but
Yeah.
we are far from getting poverty under control. What is it that is being put in place to address that among
Well,
these three agencies that you have somehow through your conferences have learned from?
so what the world is doing now at this point in order to catch up with this agenda, which is somehow late, as you rightly
And
said.
your camera is not on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but the camera is not on.
I can see you.
Yeah, I can see. We can't see you, but we can hear you very well. Maybe it's the network, but go ahead. Hello?
Yeah, Hajia is his network. He's going to be
It's
back. He's trying to refresh the browser.
okay. All right. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Did I go?
Yeah, we could hear you earlier, but I don't think it's me. I think it's from you.
Yeah, it probably should be coming from my side. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
All right. I think one of the things the world is doing now in order to catch up with this process is the empowerment
Okay.
of women and girls.
It's his network is frozen. Okay, so I can hear you. Your network is frozen. I can't hear you at all. That is
So he's
all.
having network issue. He's going to
Okay,
refresh his browser. His network.
okay, okay, okay. Yeah, so we want to hear because 2030 is almost here, and all I hear everywhere is poverty, 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 poverty. And it's always every year we're doing the UN thing, the SDG, the climate change groups, but we are not seeing the changes actually happening on ground. And Aliou is someone that is very, very engaged with a lot of this international organization. They are always holding conferences in regards to addressing climate change. And climate change with poverty, I think it goes hand in hand because if we don't have a means to grow great crops that we can feed ourselves and also sell, it's definitely going to be affecting the economy and keeping people hungry and also no means of a livelihood. So let's see. I hope he gets back and give us some of the share some insights on what uh, they have learned and what is happening and how this 2030 is coming along. What is the projection? How much is being achieved? How far are we to really realizing that goal of 2030? Rafael, he's still off? Thank you, thank you. So bear with us. He's trying to fix his browser and he will be back. If you have any questions or if you want to add to the conversation, please feel free to do so. It's all about learning from each other and sharing insightful information to help those people that may watch our program later and to help them better their lives. That's the whole idea of Dialogue with Khuraira. How can we help improve people's lives? It is what is key here. Okay. Our guest, Rufai, is he still struggling with the network?
Yeah, Hajia. He's currently off. Even his WhatsApp, so I'm trying to get a hold of him.
Maybe the network. He is
He's
it's
in the airport, so definitely it will
oh, okay. I see. Oh wow, what a gentleman. He still had to keep to the time even though he was not, he's on transit. That's wonderful. Okay. All right. Okay, my people, we're not sure where is our guest. His network is not, he's at the, on transit at the moment, and his network is not responding well. And instead of, I think we have discussed quite a bit of some great tips on what is really happening in the grazing community and also what is available out there. I'm hoping that if he's not able to come back in the next 2 minutes, we're going to wrap up our show for today. And we will have a link to Aliou Mustafa's page. You will learn a lot of what he does. He's really an incredible young man that is doing great in Cameroon and beyond. They are really passionate about what they're doing, and they're actually helping not just women, but also youth and young girls to better their lives and get more education and also uplift their community. So as we are seeing, he's off, completely off. And I would say, my people, thank you very much for tuning into Dialogue with Khuraira today. And we look forward to having you next time. And God willing, we're going to bring you another interesting unsung hero who is doing incredible things in their own various community. I hope this program have inspired you in a way that you also will go out there and start doing something. If you're already not doing that, to do great things in your own community so that you can uplift the lives of others. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful night. Thank you. Bye bye.